Few automotive rivalries are as intense and hard-fought as Mustang versus Camaro. These two have been trading blows almost continuously for over 50 years straight. And after all that fighting, the question of which one is superior is still very much up in the air. So today, while we probably won't change the mind of any Mustang or Camaro fanboys out there, for the rest of you, we will hopefully provide some insight into this question. So with all that said, let's see which American muscle car is most deserving of your hard-earned money. Now, no muscle car is truly at its best until it has a giant V8 under the hood, so that's exactly what we've got. Starting out with the Mustang, we have the loaded GT Premium, which gets you some of the luxury features in addition to the raw performance. It starts out at $39,355, and from there we have the 10-speed automatic, safety package, spare tire, and navigation system. All told, with destination, the total rings in at $44,145. For the refreshed Camaro, the equivalent loaded trim is the 2SS, which starts off at $42,000 even. We have several additional options on board, including the 10-speed automatic transmission, navigation, and the white interior accent package. Additionally, we do have the performance exhaust system that the Mustang is missing. So while you will get to hear it, for fairness we won't be counting it. Therefore, all said and done, its total rings in at $45,280 with destination. That places our price difference at just a touch over $1,000. So to make up for that small price gap, we'll start the Mustang off with 1 point per $1,000, or 1 point. So now that we've established the bases, let's get into the heart of the comparison. When it comes to these two, by far the most important part is under the hood. Both continue to have the same massive V8s, 6.2 liters in the Camaro and 5 liters in the Mustang. Despite the displacement difference, the horsepower output is nearly identical at 455 versus 460 horsepower. The torque gap, however, is more significant, at 455 pound-feet for Camaro to 420 for the Mustang. As far as the transmissions, the refreshed Camaro now has the exact same GM Ford co-developed 10-speed automatic as in the Mustang. Of course, you can still get a 6-speed manual in both if you prefer, but the majority of people will still go for the automatic. Now let's go ahead and hear those awesome startups and exhausts. So moving into the driving impressions, let me preface by saying that I nowhere near tested the limits of these two vehicles. They are extremely capable, and you really need a racetrack to get a full sense of their maximum potential. Nevertheless, both are still extremely enjoyable at legal speeds. The steering is laser fast, acceleration is instantaneous, and the exhaust sounds are out of this world. Both are more like sports cars than they have ever been in the past, and that is definitely a good thing. Finally, for your fuel economy, the result is a little surprising. The smaller displacement engine in the Mustang still delivers worse MPG at 19 combined versus 20 combined in the Camaro, which is probably due to the cylinder deactivation. Anyways, now let's get to comparing the outside styling and features. Now for the most part, I try to keep subjectivity out of these comparisons, but I will look at the front and rear styling overall. Starting with the Mustang, its styling is unchanged from its refresh last year, so it continues to have a good mix of both classic and modern design cues. The grille is wide and aggressive, filled in with the black mesh. The Camaro, on the other hand, has changed, well, a lot from last year. Chevy has moved to a new Transformers theme for the face, and while controversial, I will say that it does look better in person than in pictures. They pair that new face with new LED headlights, which extend into the grille for a really cool look. Going back to the Mustang, it too has cool looking full LED headlights. Plus it also has LED fog lights where the Camaro only has an accent light. So overall, the Mustang's gonna take the front point. In the rear though, there's really no big advantage one way or the other. They both have great looking designs, punctuated by LED taillights and quad exhaust. However, I will give the Camaro a half point since it does have a standard large spoiler versus the small one on the Stang. Another place where the Camaro gives you more standard equipment is the wheels. This 18-inch alloy is the standard wheel on every GT, whereas this 20-inch alloy is the standard wheel on every SS. And then as far as your brakes, the Camaro also gives you standard Brembos, as opposed to the Mustang where you have to opt for the performance package to get them. Heading up to the mirrors, Camaro again wins by giving the owner both auto dimming and blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert. But things start to fall apart a bit for Camaro when it comes to all the rest of the safety systems. Our Mustang has the Safe and Smart package, which includes automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and auto high beam headlights. By comparison, all the Camaro has is passive forward collision warning, no matter how you equip it. And as far as the warranties go, they are exactly the same, except that the Chevy gives you one free complimentary service visit. Finishing things off at the fuel tank, there is a huge difference between the two. The Camaro has a 19-gallon fuel tank, while the Mustang only has 16 gallons. And that does therefore mean that with its superior mileage, the Camaro has 380 miles of range compared to only 304 in the Ford. Well, that wraps up everything to talk about on the outside. So now let's go ahead and see if the interiors are as closely matched. Getting inside, both have smart entry, as well as key fobs that include remote start. After opening up the doors, the cabins look very different from each other. Our Camaro has the ceramic white leather interior, and the Mustang a simple black leather interior, but other colors are obviously available. In regards to the seats themselves, the Mustang has 6-way power seats with 2-way lumbar, but it's lacking any type of power back adjustment. While the Camaro has 8-way power seats, but is lacking any kind of lumbar adjustment. Both are also heated and ventilated, so the tiebreaker is the 2-person memory on the Chevy. Once inside, even though the designs are very different, materials are pretty similar. The Mustang's upper dash is all soft touch with stitching, and then all through the middle is a faux aluminum trim. On the Camaro, the top portion is actually hard touch, but all the middle portion is leatherette with contrast stitching. The knee and armrest are also leather padded. There is, however, a bigger difference for the door trims. The Camaro simply has more leather, and best of all, a very large piece of real aluminum trim. Overall, it's got the more premium cabin. Press the button to start both models. After you do, you'll see 8-inch high-resolution displays fire up. But then looking at the gauges, only the Camaro comes standard with reconfigurable digital gauges. To be fair, they are also available on the Mustang, but that would have required an additional $2,200 package. And in addition to that, Camaro has a head-up display that is not available on the Mustang no matter what. Coming back to the steering wheels, both have pleasingly heavy electric power steering and attractive leather-wrapped wheels. Only the Camaro's is heated. Next up we have storage, which of course neither of these two have very much of, but among them the Mustang is better. Its center console is both wider and deeper, plus it's got another tiny area up front that the Chevy doesn't have. Both models have paddle shifters, backup cameras with trajectory, and parking sensors. Coming up to the climate, both are dual zone automatic. The Camaro setup definitely looks cooler, but at the same time, the rim can heat up enough to burn you, so the Mustang's is more practical. Now let's go ahead and compare the Mustang's new Bang & Olufsen sound system to the Camaro's Bose. I know the audio samples don't necessarily reflect it, but the Mustang system has a bit more punch. And now that brings us to the infotainment systems. Starting with the Ford, we have the latest version of Sync 3. This continues to be a very easy system to use, with shortcuts at the bottom and a home screen. We also have integrated navigation, but if you don't want to pay for that, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard. Moving to the Camaro, it was updated with the newest Chevy Infotainment 3 system this year. The new layout is similar to Sync 3, but I did find that this system has snappier overall performance. The optional navigation system has great looking graphics, but again, both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard. Honestly, both are excellent systems, and there's really not enough difference to award any points. Up top, both have auto-dimming mirrors and universal remotes, but the Camaro's has an extra trick. To compensate for the poor visibility, it has a rear camera mirror that completely cuts out all obstructions. Finally, neither model has a moonroof, though you can option one onto the Camaro if you want. Now checking out the back seats, the actual measurements are not real meaningful since they are measured as if though a midget were driving. But as far as real world feel for my 5'8" body, the Mustang is definitely more accommodating. My hair only barely grazes the glass instead of being pressed against it, and the Mustang seats are buckets. Moving on to cargo capacity, the Ford has a significant advantage. It comes in at 13.5 cubic feet versus only 9.3 in the Camaro. Plus, its seats fold 50-50 split versus all in one piece. Well, that's pretty much it for this really close comparison video. As you can probably tell by now, they are more similar than different, so it's really going to come down to your personal preference. We strongly suggest doing yourself a favor and checking them both out in person. Anyways, thanks for joining us for another Car Confections Face-Off comparison. And be sure to subscribe to help us reach 50,000 subscribers and beyond. Take care, everybody.
you.